So there is this tendency when a teacher is gone for kids to kind of check out, but I try to fight that by making a special video for you each time. So if I'm gone, I'm still teaching you even from home when I'm sick. So I hope you watch that video and then actually tried really hard to stay caught up, because you can't afford in math to just like not do anything for a couple days. All right, so by now you should know the vertex. Looking at this for 2 seconds, you should know the vertex. All right, Bennett, what's a vertex? 2, -1. Very good. All right, so that's the first question I could ask, is just a very simple, what's the vertex? I'm going to recommend that you write down all of these, because this is a great example of like 5 test questions in a row. Could there be something as simple as what's the vertex? Yeah, there could. All right, next, what's the axis of symmetry? I know where it is, but can you tell me the equation for it? Act like it's a test right now, and that it's a group test. So you can talk to the kid next to you and make sure you're right. Would you please talk to the kid next to you? What's the axis of symmetry? Talk to each other. Come on, I know she haven't talked to you. Talk to each other. It's not that scary. If you don't know, you can say I don't know. All right. Copy. Here we go. The axis of symmetry is the axis of symmetry, and that's x equals something. If you haven't written that yet, you must have forgotten an important thing. This line right here, you probably knew there was a line there, but you probably didn't know what to call it. It's x equals, and then that's the x, isn't it? X equals 2. That's the axis of symmetry. It's got to have the x equals. Have I pounded into your head enough that a single number like 5 is the wrong answer? You'll never is a big word, almost never have an answer of just 5. Back when you were a little kid, sure, but not when you're in Algebra 2. The answer here isn't just 2. It's x equals 2. All right, because if it was y equals 2, then that'd be a dotted line going the other way. Question about this one?
Like if you're writing it like versus form, wouldn't the negative 2 change the negative or not?
Nope. That is 2, -1. Are you saying if we wrote the equation for this? Oh, that's very advanced. And eventually we will do that. And then if you're talking about the equation for this, yeah, you can't trust the inside of the equations. That's good. All right, third question. What are the x-intercepts? And I know some of you can see them. They're dots. But how do you name them? And if you're tempted to just write a single-digit number like 5 or 2 or 1, you're wrong. It's got to be a point, like something, comma, something. There's 2 x-intercepts. So the first one and the second one both share this same thing. If they're x-intercepts, they're these spots. I'm going to make them bright green right now. They're these spots right here. They touch the x-axis. And so that first one's at 1, and the second one's at 3. But if you just wrote a 1 and a 3, you would get it wrong. You have to say more than that in this level of class. So it's not just 1, it's 1, 0. And it's not just 3, it's 3, 0. Those are the x-intercepts. It's where it touches the x. All right, next thing is the y-intercepts. Unlike the x, there's only one y-intercept ever. you'll only ever have one y-intercept. By now, Osberg, I've pounded the drum enough to know that I know the answer's got a 2 in it, but I know I can't just say 2. Because it's right here. Can you tell me how to say it right?
0, 2.
Very nice. Copying stuff. Good. Should have all of that. I'll be looking at your iPad in a second. All right. You need all of this. Why? Because this is an example of, so far, 1, 2, 3, 4 questions off your next test. Things just like this. And if you don't have notes on it, then you're not going to remember it. All right. The next thing is the equation for this, y equals, if I say x minus 3 squared plus 2, I know that I just did not use the right vertex because I know vertex form. Do you know that in vertex form, the vertex would be 3, 2? Do you remember the deal where you use these two numbers and this one's the opposite of what you would think? Does that ring a bell? So this cannot be the right equation because our vertex isn't 3, 2. So figure out what the right equation is because you know the vertex. Put it in there. Hint, here's the vertex. Clearly you probably want to use a 2 and a -1, but be careful. There's one spot that usually trips people up. Josh Lipnick, do you trust the inside?
No.
So, why is this wrong?
It should be negative.
Yes. See, it is positive 2 right now, but you can't trust that. So you make it a -2. Can you finish it, Josh? What should go here? Yep. And plus minus is actually legal, but you should clean that up. And plus minus means minus. There we go. That's the equation in vertex form. Could you have written the equation in vertex form? I don't think it's that hard to do. All right. Next thing is these two right here, these two x-intercepts, they come from an equation form that looks like this. Everybody write this down. This is not related to the other problem. This, you can be like, move away from that other problem and just write this. I can see the x-intercepts when it's in this form. This form is called factored form. And I can see the x-intercepts. It's 4 and 9, but I'm smart enough to know that it's not going to be that simple because they're on the inside, so I can't trust them. And you can never just give a single-digit answer. So the answer isn't just 4. That's wrong in 2 ways. What are the x-intercepts? Warminski, if I can't use 4, then -4. And I can't just write -4. It's wrong if I just leave a single-digit number. How do I write the x-intercept then? Nope. That's how you do x-intercepts. Their x-intercept will have a y of 0. So you should have at least known that you were going to start with a -4 because it's on the inside, do the opposite of what you think. So -4 is your starting place. But then you got to know x-intercepts have y of 0. See? How do you know that? Well, because look, here's our x-intercepts. Look, they don't go up at all. Their y is 0. All right. So given that, this should be a slam dunk then. What's the other x-intercept?
9.
Riley, what do you think? Please don't just say 9.
Wait, what's Riley?
Yes, you.
9, 0.
9, 0. Very good. Do you get just a single digit number was not going to be right. So you had to say 9 comma 0. All right, good. Okay, one more thing. Do you know how to multiply this thing out? You know? Do it. That's called finding standard form. Right now you're in factored form. Get standard form. Grant, tell me what you got when you did the x times the x. Good. And then how about the x times the negative 9?
Negative 9x.
Excellent. And then what about the 4 times the x?
4x.
Excellent. And then how about the 4 times the 9? Technically negative 9.
Negative
36. All right. And then you put these guys together because they're called like terms. And you should have said x squared minus 5x minus 36. And that's called standard form. It's the same equation. It's just written different. Like if you graphed both of these on Desmos, they'd be in the same spot. This one's just good because it tells you the x-intercepts. This one's good because it tells you A, B, and C. A is 1. Do you get how there's a 1 right there? Do you get if there's no number there, there's actually 1 there? Okay, there's A, there's B, and there's C. All right. One more thing that's kind of handy is that this last number is the y-intercept, because this is a big statement. I'm putting it in over in my notes area. The y-intercept is where x equals 0. The y-intercept is where x equals 0. Look, if I put in x equals 0 here and here, do you get that knocks them out? And then the answer's y equals negative 36. See? That's a y-intercept because x equals 0. Let's see if you can do the two that go together. Y-intercept is where x equals 0. What's the x-intercept?
So y
Where y equals 0. Yeah. I'm going to say it one more time. The y-intercept, that's where x equals 0. The x-intercept, that's where what?
That's where y is equal to
Y equals 0. All right. So today on some of your homework, they're going to like give you a problem like this. Y equals x squared plus 6x plus 7. And they're going to say, what's the y-intercept? And you're going to have to go, okay, what did he say about y-intercept again? Y-intercept is where x equals 0. Look, 0, 0, y equals 0, 0, 0 plus 7. Your y equals 7 is it? The y-intercept is where, finish that sentence. Come on, you can do this. The y-intercept is where what?
x is 0.
X is 0. And the x-intercept is where what? Y equals 0. So the x-intercept on this equation the y-intercept, I'd just stick in x equals 0. And I'd find my y-intercept really quick. Y equals 0 plus 4 is 4 times 0 minus 5 is negative 5. Do you get that be negative 20? What did I just find? I just stuck in x equals 0, so I was finding the y-intercept. The y-intercept is where x equals 0. How about the x-intercept?
Y is 0.
Y is 0. If y is 0, and these can't be 0, so y is 0. Ooh, that's that kind where negative 4 is part of the answer, but I'll never give an answer that's just negative 4, right? So if I was trying to find the the x-intercept, the x-intercept would make me set y equal to 0, and these are x-intercepts, So y equals 0. That's the x-intercept. The x-intercept has a y equal to 0. See, it's 0 here, and it's 0 right there. Are you getting that the x-intercept goes with y equals 0? Are you getting that the y-intercept goes with x equals 0? All right. So I can tell you an equation like this. And if I ask for the x-intercept and the y-intercept, it's easy peasy. But I'm just going to ask you for one of them. Everybody write this down. What's the y-intercept? As soon as I say y-intercept, that's supposed to trigger you to go, oh, this equals this. I'm going to say it one more time. What's the y-intercept?
X equals 0.
That's where x equals 0. So you put a 0 here. And figure it out. Zane, what's 0 plus 5? What's 5 squared? Good. And then make it negative. Negative 25 minus 4. Yes. Now, since I said y equals, I could take it. Do you get if a kid just wrote negative 29, I have to mark it wrong? No simple numbers. You can't just say negative 29. You're not giving me anything on a graph. I don't know where that is. But since it says y equals negative 29, then I could go, oh, okay. They were trying to find the y-intercept. I really wanted them to write this. The y-intercept has x equals 0. But I'd be able to take either one of these for the y-intercept. But do you get if I just left the answer as negative 29, it's getting marked wrong? Because you tell me, where's negative 29 in the graph? I don't know. There's a million negative 29s. You can go 29 to the left. It could be down 29. There's a million, it could be left 29. Negative 29 doesn't exist in only one spot. So you'd have to say something like that. That only exists in one spot. 0, negative 29 is like down there. Cool. So I just taught you how to find the x and the y-intercepts. There's only one thing left for today. And that is, does this equation have a vertex that is a maximum or a minimum? Now, first of all, what's a vertex? You should be able to find the vertex. It's in vertex form. It's just sitting right there. What's the vertex? Write it down. V equals what? Henry Kist, what is the vertex on this problem? Negative 5, negative 4. Very good. Notice that you didn't trust the 5 because it was on the inside, so you made it negative 5. You are correct. Negative 5, negative 4. Now, I want to give you a side bonus tip. The x of that, you know which one's the x, right? The x of that, that's the axis of symmetry. If they ask you for the axis of symmetry, it's super easy. It's that. Can I just write negative 5? No. So do you remember how to write the axis of symmetry? Everybody try to finish this. Negative 5 is part of the axis of symmetry. Do you remember the rest of it? The axis of symmetry. I did it earlier in the hour. Do you have a short-term memory? Axis of symmetry. Who in here knew that it was x equals negative 5? Good. Some people have a short-term memory. X equals, that's the axis of symmetry. Some people call it the axis of symmetry. All right, x equals negative 5. How did I know the negative 5? Because it was right there. That's the x spot. That's where you get your axis of symmetry, is the x. And how did I get the negative 5? It came from over here. because you don't trust the inside. All these little things keep adding up. You got to know that you can't just trust this 5 because it's on the inside. Then it's a negative 5. You got to know how to find the vertex, which we got from here and here. Then once you got the vertex, you got to be able to say, oh, that part's the axis of symmetry. And you can't just give a single number, so it's x equals negative 5. And then, one more thing I could ask. I could ask the y-intercept, so you'd set x equal to 0, but I already did that earlier. So, one last thing you could ask is this vertex here a maximum or a minimum? All right, I have a fun way to remember this. I only ever, in the first semester, give a name, like a human name, to one thing. This guy's name is a name. His name is Maximus, aka Max. If there is a negative in the front, you've got a maximum. Let me explain why. If there's a negative in the front, it's an upside down parabola. Upside down parabolas have a highest spot. That spot's called a maximum. Now, if you just want to, that's the why it works, but if you just want the fast way, if you ever see a quadratic and there's a negative in front, it's a max. His name is Max, and it's going to have a maximum. And where does the maximum happen? At the vertex. So the vertex is the maximum. Because see, that spot's the highest of them all, and that spot's the vertex. Everything's about the vertex in this unit. So the axis of symmetry goes right through the vertex. It's the x of the vertex. All right, so a typical question for today says, does this have a maximum? And what's its vertex? And does this have a maximum? And what's its vertex? All right, so would you tell me the vertex of these two and which one's a max? This is not super hard, but it's one more thing. Like last test, there's a million little things you have to know. You gotta know what a vertex is. You gotta know what an axis of symmetry is. You gotta know an x-intercept from a y-intercept. You gotta know when things have minimums and maximums. And I named somebody. That guy is Max. So you should have said this one has a maximum at negatives. You don't have to say at. Negative 7, 8. Because that's the vertex. And this one's vertex, so close, but wrong. It's not 4, 5. What is it? Negative 4, 5. Good. All right. Feel like you can do that? Now you're all caught up with the last several days. That's like the first half of the test. That's like the easy part of the test. Like if you could do all of that, you'd get a C on this next test. I know some of you weren't there when we started the hour, but I think you're there now. So, to sum it all up, here's one more parabola that goes through these spots. There, let's make them blue. There, and there are all the key spots. I'm not even going to ask you to write them down. I'm just going to ask you to think. If I said, where's the vertex, can you stare at it? Are you staring here? Awesome. What's the name of that point? Are you thinking -2, -1? Good. What's the axis of symmetry then? What if some kid just said -2? Would I take it? No. X equals -2 is the axis of symmetry. Things like that. Okay. Is there a y-intercept?
Yes.
Can I just say 3?
No. Y equals 3.
Close. 0, 3. Are there x-intercepts? Yes, there's usually 2. That's one of them. Can I say -1?
No.
Can I say negative 1 comma 0?
Yes.
All right, and then that one must be negative 2 comma, no wait, negative 3, sorry. Negative 3 comma 0. The x-intercepts, the y-intercept, the axis of symmetry. The equation for this would be y equals, because I know the vertex, which is right here, y equals x plus 2. I don't trust this number, so I change it. Squared, and then minus 1. Does this one have a maximum? No. Look at it. Doesn't it have a low spot? That's a minimum. This spot here is the minimum. And also, there's no negative here. If they're doing a negative, his name would be max. So this one has a minimum. The minimum is at this spot, right there. Okay, cool. You know everything. Now, let's start the Schoology quiz together. Everybody open up the Schoology quiz for today. I'll do the first problem with you. And today will be a great day. We got a fair amount of work time to come up and, if you were stuck on an old Schoology quiz, come up and ask me. I think some kids still think that homework doesn't count very much. And yet, if I asked you, do you mind if I drop your grade 10%? You'd be like, no, don't drop my grade 10%. Well, that's what happens if you don't do your homework. It's 10%. That's what happens. If you had a B going, now you're down to a C. Homework is worth 10%. Actually, it's worth 15%. But there's nobody insane enough to never do their homework. So some people do a little bit of their homework, and then all they lose is 10%. If you never did any homework, you subtract 15% off your grade. If you had 100% going, you'd be down to an 85. Homework does matter. So do it. All right. So now you got the first problem up. Alex, would you please read me number 1?
Y equals x plus 1 squared minus 9.
Minus 9? Okay, good. Now what do they want about it? They must have to do something with it. Like the directions. What does it say to do?
Put it in standard form.
Standard form. Okay. So to get standard form, first of all, this isn't standard form because it's in vertex form. So to get standard form, you just have to multiply this thing out. That was on a different day. You're supposed to remember that. So let's multiply this thing out together. Zane, would you please do the x squared thing? Multiply this thing out. What is x squared followed by? Plus 1x, or just x, yep. Plus another x, plus another 1. 1 times 1 is 1, by the way. A lot of people make it 2 for some weird reason. Okay, cool. And then it's minus 9 at the end. That's just copying that down. Then you can combine these like terms and these like terms. And then you've got your answer. Henry Nichols, what's the final answer?
The final answer has to be x squared plus 2x plus minus 8.
Excellent. And then to actually enter this on Schoology, they want a number here and here and here. What's the first number going to be since there's nothing there?
Plus 1.
You are correct. And if you just had a plain 1 without the plus, it'd have been okay. But here it has to be a plus 2. And there it has to be a plus 3. Yes?
There's also asking for the y-intercept.
Ooh, okay. Now the cool part about if you know how the y-intercept works, the y-intercept is where x equals 0. So I can look at this and just go x equals 0, and you get that those parts drop out, and so what's the y-intercept? Well, it's negative 8. Can I just write negative 8?
No.
No.
That's your point.
Exactly. So be careful. Where's the negative 8 go? Well, hint, it's the x equals 0, so it's finding the y-intercept. So the y-intercept has an x equals 0. And then negative 8. There. Is there anything else that they want on that problem? Okay, cool. All right. Let's just start number 2 together. Marshall, would you read me number 2?
3 like parentheses.
Yep.
X plus 1 squared.
Yep.
Minus 2.
Okay, and what do they want?
We want standard form and y-intercept.
If I wanted to do the y-intercept right now, I could, but pro tip, it's faster to multiply this all out, because then the y-intercept is just the number at the end. Okay, so I could do the y-intercept first, but I'd rather just multiply it out. So I'm going to write it out as x plus 1 and x plus 1, just like last time, minus 2. Pro tip for also doing these the easy way. Tons of kids want to start with the 3. Don't start with the 3. Do you get that this was squared and powers are supposed to be done first? So multiply this out first. Once you're done multiplying that out, which we just did on the last problem, then times everything by 3, and only at the very end, put the negative 2 in there. So start here. Then times everything by 3, then subtract 2. All right. And that's all I got for you for today.